Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Pro Dota Commentary done by Luminous. Today I'm casting Team Liquid versus Team Dignitas. This is a best of 3 series from Called Dota 2 League season number 3? Oh yeah, it says up here, season number 3. Of course, if you guys want to support the tournament ticket is $7.99, I believe, in the Dota TV store. I just bought it, and it comes with a courier as well. Tournament is casted by AC, so if you like the man with the golden voice casting, definitely support the tournament and tune into the live streams. If not, I'm going to be casting some of the selected replays, such as like this one. I'm casting this replay because there is a very special hero that we haven't really seen in the pro scene, and now with the 6.78 patch, we'll be seeing particularly this game. This is game 2, I believe, in the best of 3 series. As you can see up here, Team Dignitas is up 1 game. I don't really care too much about it. I'm just casting this particular game for that particular hero. But let's talk about 6.78 a little bit. Obviously, you guys know that I had a 3-hour changelog with AUI 2000, who is actually playing this game. So another big shout out to AUI for helping out. Yeah, personally, my opinion about changelogs is that if you guys remember back in Dota 1 days, and this is 4 or 5 years ago, even when there's a new patch came out, there's a stable version. So let's say 6.58 just came out, but the stable version will be 6.55. I personally like that a little bit more because sure, you don't see the newer heroes being played instantly in the pro scene, and that's, you know, a big devastating thing, but at the same time you allow the pros themselves to learn the new heroes in pub games. You also allow the beta testers as well as the community to figure out all the bugs before a pro match is being played. As you guys may know, a lot of these matches are played with a lot of money on stake, or a lot of pride, or a lot of sponsor placement issue, whether you win or lose. That's a big deal, and I don't think you should play it on a buggy patch. And who knows, the 6.78 on the Dota 2 version is a buggy patch. So I think there was a movement about this, like back when Dota 2 first came out. There was a tournament version, and I think if you host a game right now, you'll still see like a checkbox for tournament version or non-tournament or the newest version. And it seems like most tournaments have now ran, most tournament organizers have now ran tournaments using the newest versions instead of tournament version. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. I definitely want your opinion on the comment section below. Again, sure, it's always nice to see newer heroes, especially very soon, right after the patch game comes out. But you don't even know whether the pros have practiced that enough because it's given, what, 4 or 5 days since it come out? So
10 seconds
it's give and take. But that's just a personal spiel I want to get out there. Let's actually get onto the game here. Team Liquid on the Radiant side, Team Dignitas on the Dire. So if you look at the draft going on so far, Wisp, Batrider, as well as the Lone Druid and Darkseer being banned out, and these are sort of the very common ban back a couple of days ago. You can see that trend has not really trend is still holding strong, or maybe teams have not really adjusted to what this patch's first pick. I imagine it's going to change a couple months down the road. And again, that goes back to my point of people not really having the time to really adjust to 6.78 yet. But Lifestealer still being the pick up here despite being nerfed. Meanwhile, Clockwork and Bane's going to be the follow-up, and then we have Nature's Prophet being the second pick on the first pick phase of Team Liquid. Obviously, in the 6.78 patch, there's also a new pick ban phase now. You can see that you're doing 2 bans, and then 2 picks, and then 2 more bans as we're in the second ban phase, and then we're going to do 2 more picks, and afterwards we're going to have 1 ban and then 1 more pick. So it's somewhat convoluted, somewhat kind of what do you call it? Messy, I guess is another way to talk about it. And if you guys want to get AUI's opinion, there is the changelog, the 3-hour changelog. I do actually appreciate people has personally messaged me. It's like, hey Lumi, I know you posted a 3-hour changelog, but I watch every minute of it. You guys, pat on the back, because I had to edit that thing, and let me tell you, man, that took way longer than 3 hours to edit. But in any case, Jarl Copter is going to get the ban out. So let's talk about kind of the interaction of the heroes being picked up. So Clockwork no longer actually kind of driving people back with power cogs, no longer through magical immunity, and that's going to be somewhat big against Lifestealer. I personally thought that Clockwork wasn't going to be even a top tier hero anymore, because I originally thought he was mostly picked for that, you know, being able to deal with the BKB carries. But in the changelog analysis I did with AI, he correctly pointed out that Clockwork still has one of the best early game laning phases. You could be able to dual long lane him with a lot of different heroes, such as Weaver in this case, and generally none of them actually die. He's always still a great initiator in team fights. He does a ton of things for you, whether he's checking things with your Rocket Flare, or going for solo kills with Battery Assault. Just by taking his ability to pierce through magical immunity with the cogs is not enough. At least that's what AI thinks, and at least for Team Dignitas, they value it very highly, and they pick up Clockwork, and we'll see whether that's actually correct here. Obviously, the Clockwork hook still goes through magical immunity, so they do have some ways to deal with the Lifestealer. Of course, Fiend's Grip also goes through magical immunity, and they will be sending him able to lock him down. I imagine Weaver is going to be the one row carry, and Weaver also matches up quite decently against Lifestealer, simply because his open wounds is not going to be effective against you, and you kind of dart in and out of team fight. Lifestealer does damage in big chunks, but does it quite slowly, like one hit, one hit, one hit, so you have a ton of times to actually backtrack. So Team Dignitas actually crafted a fairly decent team around dealing with Lifestealer, and Dragon Knight as a fourth pickup as well. We do see a ton of Chinese teams using Dragon Knight as solo mid, and I imagine that's how Team Dignitas will be playing it. And he's another hero that deals with Lifestealer quite well. In terms of initiating against Lifestealer, your ultimate allows you to pop that Dragon Tail quite quickly. Once you get up to level 16, you're gonna slow down the Lifestealer. More importantly, you're a high armor hero, which works great against Feast. For those of you guys who don't know, Feast does more damage if you have more HP and less armor. So you have more armor, then he does less damage with your Feast. So yeah, Team Dignitas kind of drafting for multiple heroes to beat the Lifestealer. And we'll see how Lifestealer go. Lifestealer probably can't be your initiator anymore because at level 1, his open wound has 200 cast range. And for those of you guys don't know what the 200 cast range is, it is damn short. So if they really want to initiate for a trial and kill, you're going to have to get heroes like Rubik to do it. And Rubik's not exactly having a very strong initiation range himself. So Naga Siren is going to get the pickup here by Team Liquid. So this should be somewhat different. I am... How is Naga going mid here? Excuse me, is Naga going mid here? Is Nature's Prophet going here? I imagine Boba is going to be playing Nature's Prophet in the long lane. Naga, in my opinion, could do a ton of roles quite well, actually. I think she could do a trial and carry very easily. She could do a support very easily, like a 4-row or 5-row support, because all of her spells are pretty decent, and if you pick a strategy around Solemn Siren, all you really need is like level 6, maybe even level 11, so you could get the cooldown better. I imagine she's going to be played as a solo mid. I don't imagine we'll see Lifestealer and Naga on the same lane, but if you do see it on the same lane, it's going to be Naga Siren on the supportive role. I don't think we're going to see a Lifestealer on support, which I personally thought Lifestealer on support. The 4-row Lifestealer was possible back in the previous patch, though it was 6.77. I definitely ran 4-row Lifestealer when I drafted in my low scrim games, and it worked out quite decently because you could initiate with your open wounds, you feast walk in, and rage walk in, and what's support gonna do to you? Nothing, right? But now you can't initiate with anything with open wounds anymore because he has 200 cast range. So we are on the final ban phase. Both teams took out a Brewmaster and the Luna, respectively. So Team Dignitas is going to be drafting the last hero. I imagine Dragon Knight going mid. Weaver going to be going bot with the support of Bane Elemental. So they need something to actually go with Clockwork on the top lane or jungler. Team Dignitas like to actually farm all over the place. With the Dragon Knight pickup here, I was just about to talk that Team Dignitas could actually transition in some sort of early game push. Dragon Knight Corrosive Breath and now Enigma conversion. So yeah, that's going to be a pretty kind of a well-rounded strat all around for Team Dignitas. So great every single stage of the game. I don't think they have weak lanes. I don't think they have weak team fight. I don't think they have weak push. So it's just going to be up to play, I feel like. Team Dignitas, I want to say they're not really... They're in the same situation Team Dignitas. They're not really strong in any case. Their late game is actually pretty good with Nature's Prophet, with Naga Siren, and Lifestealer as their 3 cores. I imagine again, and here's a reason why I'm casting this replay. Spirit Motherfucking Breaker is going to be played as this game, and spoiler alert, he's going to be played as a support. So it's going to be Fluff and Stuff playing the Spirit Breaker. And also, as a side note, as a little bit of extra information for you guys, there's a little bit of bad history about between these two teams. about Spirit Breaker. So, story time for you guys. I think Team Dignitas was practicing against Team Liquid, and I do apologize if I don't get the story correctly, and let me know if those of you guys do know the story. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to slander these teams in any way, but apparently these two teams are practicing the scrim, and this is well before 6.78 patch. And Team Dignitas, I believe, was trying to experiment with a support Spirit Breaker, and
10 seconds.
And I think Team Liquid had a match coming up, and they're like, "What? We're playing against Spirit Breaker? We're not gonna play against that." Like, they thought Team Dignitas was trolling them, and they just like straight up left the stream. So now there's some bad blood between the. I call it bad blood, but it's more like more of an annoyance factor between the two teams. And now how ironic that it's Team Liquid picking the support Spirit Breaker against Team Dignitas, and I don't think Dignitas could lose this game, consider that this is a official match from the Dota 2 League Season 3. So, very, very interesting draft. We're going to see Korok playing the Life Stealer, Fluff and Stuff playing the Spirit Breaker, IXMI handling the support Rubik. We're going to have Boba going on the top lane, Nature's Prophet, and we're going to see Naga Siren being handled by TC on the mid lane. So, definitely quite a bit of role reversal. A quick ball rush from Naga Siren and a Sal first from him. Meanwhile, quickly checking out on Team Dignitas, 5-man row on top, just dropping a couple wards. It's going to be AUI playing on the Dragonite, so I definitely thought Dragonite's going to be going mid, simply because that's generally where we see Dragonite. But in terms of matchup here, I guess Snaking playing on the Weaver is going to match up quite beautifully against Naga Siren. He's going to have a ton of rune control because it's Takuchi, and he's never really going to die. You could actually Sakuchi away from net as the net is actually flying to you. But if the net is on top of you, even if you try to Sakuchi, you will still breathe review. So depending on when Snaking pops his Sakuchi, he should be, I mean, you have a ton of time to actually react, because the cast point of Naga Siren just got nerfed in the previous patch, not this one. And the cast is very, very slow, so you have a ton of time to actually dodge it. He should be fine. Volk's going to be playing a support Bane, and he's going to be picking up a double damage. You know, it looks like way too sexy for picking that one. He's going to be jungling Enigma. And then last but not least, we're going to see Luminous Dota playing Clockwork on the bot lane. So, Dignitas really like to max Enigma Eidolon by 7. And basically just do a ton of early game push. And I imagine they'll be doing so with the help of that level 1 dragon. Looks like we're going to see a little bit of harassment in mid lane. I'm actually quite curious how the Naga Siren do on the mid lane. She has 6 base armor, so she's actually going to be able to withstand a ton of harass coming from Weaver's way. And because the Riptide is so spammable, he could actually get into melee range, or close to the melee range, and just spam it against Snaking. And that's exactly what we see so far. Snaking did not rush for the quick bottle. I imagine he thought he was going to be fine against Dragonite. Or sorry, against maybe even Lifestealer. So, unfortunately for him, he is going to be needing a quick bottle soon, because TC spamming away. Although that +6 armor, evidently not enough, because Snaking is actually definitely doing a ton of harass. Although with the minus armor on top, these creeps are also doing us a big number of damage on them. I mean, on the top lane here, we're going to see Boba sort of in a 1v1 matchup against AI 2000. AI doesn't really care right now. He's actually got a point into Dragon Blood, as well as a point into Dragon Tail. Surprised that he doesn't have Flame Breath just yet. But I imagine, actually this makes complete sense if you consider how Team Dignitas likes to play. They don't really go for early game gank threats. They just basically farm. And you know that your Enigma's not going to be ganking anytime soon. You know that Fog Dota is going to be doing a lot of pulls. So you really don't need Fire Breath, which is mostly used for gank. Stun is just kind of a nice assurance to have. And he's also using Dragon Blood to tank up a little bit, having better regen, yada yada yada. Back in mid lane, looks like there is a net going on Snaking. Snaking got to be very careful in terms of dodging those net. It looks like we're going to see a rush for the rune up top here, and TC's going to find himself a regen rune. Got to be careful of your universe. Oh, nice call getting against TC. TC cannot pop his regen in the bottle because he's constantly being hit. TC, you can see that hitting the cogs 3 times, and will bring himself back out of there, which he will pop the regen, and that should be it for the engagement. Back in the bot lane, Korok free farming, eh? And you can see that he's actually leveling up open runes, 4th level into Rage, and this is actually something that we talked about, or I talked about with AI during that patch lock analysis. What is your skill build now if you're playing a Lifestealer? Even though he's playing basically not even as initiator right now, there's nobody to initiate against him in the lane. You just have to take up open wounds, because without leveling up open wounds, you're simply just not that effective as a hero. And as a result, you're going to be having lower points of rage, and thus a lot easier to kill. So I personally love the change to Lifestealer. It just it forces players to go into these decision-making trees. Sure, Rage is your best skill, and you want to max it eventually, but maybe you just need to open Moon to make your hero actually relevant. I'm not sure whether this is actually the correct or the most correct or the best item build, as we're going to see Charge on the mid lane here, and with Charge revealing this guy, a single network will find him. They're going to go for the kill right now. He's going to Sakuchi away. Is there dust? Sentry Ward's on the ground. Sentry! Oh man, Sentry's a little bit late fluffing stuff. Not going to get the kill, and oh, I think he's going to give up first blood here as Enigma providing 3, a little bit of stun here, and they are going to find first blood. Way too sexy, picks it up himself. I want to say TC made a slight mistake going for the Riptide. I'm not even sure what Liquid Snake picks up the first blood, picks up the prize for witnessing a first blood that their team gave up. A little bit unfortunate. Perhaps if he actually used Ensnare there, sure, Riptide does damage and it provides minus armor and allowed Fluff and stuff to get that 1 extra hit to get the kill. Unfortunately, didn't get that hit off. Also, a little bit questionable for Fluff and stuff. Well, there's a couple things that you can do. For example, when you're charging it and Spirit Breaker, you could use items when you're charging. So he could have actually dropped the Sentry Ward as he's charging. I'm not sure if you could physically do that because I never tried it myself, because it might be a little bit difficult to click. But if you drop a Sentry Ward as the stun hits, you get the bash in and then you get the kill. Maybe it's actually better off if you got the dust, for example. I'm not sure whether they have to start it with the Sanctuary in the beginning, so we're going to see a little bit more interaction on the mid lane here. Universe is going to get netted. I do believe Naga Siren's going to go down, but here comes Fluff and stuff. He's going to get a charge in. One more hit's going to get the kill, and now Way Too Sexy in a little bit of trouble as well. You see that Boba has already teleported in. I expect Fable trying to bounce it off creeps, but Boba's last right hit is going to get the job done. So Fluff and stuff getting his gang all the way to level 4. I didn't really get a glimpse of a skill build, but I imagine it was 1-1-1. And then now he's going to be leveling up Empowering Haste. Empowering Haste actually scales out quite decently. From the first level you get 6%, and then the next level you get 10. I don't imagine you keep leveling up, simply because I feel like Greater Bash is probably his most important spell. Some might argue that Charge is actually more important because the stun duration gets better, but I feel like as your Greater Bash gets better, especially if throughout team fights, let's say you're charging a target that's all the way in the back, and then you run through 3 or 4 targets, that Greater Bash does a ton of damage in conjunction with the Empowering Haste aura. So I think that's actually a spell that you want to max. Looks like there's going to be Ensnare on the bird here, and it's going to go for the kill. That's going to be a long duration Ensnare. Unfortunately, did not get it. And Snaking a little bit of trouble as well. I didn't even know you could Ensnare on the bird. Oh. A little bit of callback here to that Beastmaster War back in Dota 1 days. That's still a secret relic from ZSMJ. Good times, good times. And the Liquid start pressuring tier 1 tower on the bot lane. So it looks like we're going to see a... Oh, but look at this small ass AoE initiation range. It's going to be a 2 points in open wounds, 2 points in rage, 1 point feast, and 1 point feast, and then 1 point infest. So, yeah. Doing well, so good here. Let's quickly check out in terms of CS. As expected, our 1-roll carries leading the way, and we do see the push now transition. I did not expect Team Dignitas to be making these ganks quite early, but so far they've been getting those ganks. Fog Dota, Way Too Sexy, or not exact Fog Dota, Universe Dota, and Way Too Sexy has been going all over the map and getting a ton of ganks. Looks like it's going to be a one-man smoke from Way Too Sexy. They are pushing up top, so they know that Boba is already in position. They're gonna force a fight on this tower, and Aoi trying to initiate. They do actually get the Nightmare up, but multiple TPs are coming back in. A charge is up on top. They are gonna get the tower, and here comes the Fluff and stuff with the Lifestealer infested inside. This is how you bring the Lifestealer into a fight. Fog Dota is actually gonna drop. I want to say that's actually an okay exchange for Team Dignitas, considering that they have basically used 1 smoke and 2 heroes time to bring down a tier 1 tower. They didn't get any kills as a result, but they also forced rotation from a Lifestealer, from a Spirit Breaker, and from IX Mike. So that's a couple of TPs being used. That's a lane of farm that's not really being taken away. And guess what? Universe is getting some really much needed free farm. So all in all, I want to say it's okay. And they're going to try to transition back and push. With Nature's Prophet here, they could do a decent number. And actually very hard for Team Dignitas to defend, because once Spirit Breaker hits level 6, unfortunately he's not close to it yet, you can actually initiate quite easily. And once Infest is back up, they can initiate quite easily as well. But they don't have anything of that, so they have to just back up. So unfortunately for Team Liquid, they got a kill on Fog. But yeah, I'm not sure how much that was worth it. I want to rate it as a slight Dignitas victory. Let's quickly look at the goal graphs here. It's going to be about 2k goal lead for Team Dignitas. Somewhat expected because they're farming a lot better in the jungle. Way Too Sexy doing a decent job. He's almost close. Uh-oh, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Where's the lift? Lift, charge. Where's a toss back? Maybe not exactly the best chains. And Wrath of Nature's going to come in. Boba's teleporting in as well. He canceled the TP. And now Black Hole's going to be used. TC's going to cancel it with the net. But they're going to get one kill as a result. The Courier just in the middle of team fight doing nothing. It looks like we're going to see a Nightmare coming on the Naga Siren. So Universe Dota is going to get, oh, they're going to still focusing on the Naga on the run. Look at him taking a ton of damage. That Malefice doing a ton of work, and Snake he can wrap around to get the kill. Kind of cool interaction here with the Nightmare as well as the Bug. Even if you're Nightmare, you can still lose armor, and that's exactly, for a second there, that's what we saw from Team Dignitas. Lowering the Nightmare, or lowering the armor value of Naga, which is really important considering that she does have a very, very high armor. And I think the biggest thing I've learned so far in this particular game is not about Spirit Breaker, sending your Lifestealer in as a charge. The biggest thing I've learned about this game so far is Enigma's ganks. It's actually very effective. Normally when you come out of jungle with a level 1 gank, with the Malefice, it's like, oh, a 1 second stun. That's it. It's actually not that impressive. And I want to just paraphrase something that AUI said when he was doing the patch log analysis. Having a 3-tick mini stun of a 0.25 second is just a lot better than a 1 second stun of a 1-tick 1 second stun. And the reason being so is that in early game, when you have a 3-tick stun like Malefice, you could hit them, they mini stun, you animation cancel, walk forward a little bit, hit them again, and then the second tick of Malefice stun comes in, and then you do the same thing. So you actually get off a ton more physical hits in, even though the total duration of the stun is a lot less than the original 1 second stun. So it's actually like a very interesting way to think about it, and it's making a lot of sense. Those ganks, especially in that early river engagement out there, the old Enigma would not have actually gotten that kill. The new Enigma did. You can see that the change already having some effects for Enigma play. And for the teams that normally do use Enigma, such as Team Dignitas as their jungler, it's a big boon for them. So very nice to see that Team Dignitas benefiting from that patch. Also, the other hero that's buffed up in this particular game is going to be Dragonite. He is definitely going to be taking up his level 2 Dragon form. And will be actually level 2 Dragon form, for you guys don't know, still actually applies to Corrosive. So AUI will be able to farm away, meanwhile still retaining the ability to push quite well. So this is quite decent. Let's quickly check out how we do in terms of item. I haven't talked too much about it, as we do see a big 3-4-man Team Liquid Smoke. They do actually have the Clockwork Dispelment Smoke. They have Observer. They're actually teleporting in right now. Uh-oh, where's the net? They're gonna actually pick up Way Too Sexy, and Way Too Sexy in big trouble. He already used the mech. He's gonna be done. Looks like they're gonna grip on Korok, but they don't want to focus on Korok. They're focusing on Fluff and stuff. They cog him in, and it looks like, the grip is right on Universe. Ike's might have stole the grip, and looks like Fluff and stuff is gonna be fine. They're gonna rotate backwards here. A stun comes in right now. There's a Sprout on top, and the trees are being summoned as well. They do toss him back. 2-man stun. This is just a really, really hectic engagement. Team Liquid, very low. Everybody's very low in terms of HP, but nobody actually died there. That was a fairly poor engagement. Enigma is not the first person that you want to get caught out of position, and that's exactly what happened, as we do see perhaps a little bit more engagement. No, he just ate a little bit of Wrath of Nature on the mid lane. Or is he going to go for the kill? Swapping? Not enough mana for that stun. Yeah, Enigma got caught out in the beginning as they're trying to do Roshan, and he basically had to pop the mech for himself. And I mean, he gave +5 armor aura for his team, but at this point, you really, really value that healing, the plus 250 HP healing, which didn't go on his team. There was no stun, there was no conversion for the most part, and there was no black hole. So really, Team Dignitas basically got caught out 4v5. The grip was nice on Korok, on the Lifestealer, but they had no damage to actually kill him because Rage is still OP like that. And as a result, and it's very easy for Ike's Might to steal the grip and then use it right back against Team Dignitas. Grip at this point does a ton of damage if they don't block it with Rage, right? So they kind of use it against Team Dignitas, and Team Dignitas lost that team fight fairly badly, and imagine the gold chart is swinging right back up. So fairly even game so far, 5-4. Gonna keep my eyes peeled out for Spirit Breaker. Another smoke being used. I'm surprised that these guys are using as many smokes simply because they could charge into any lane. One thing that I haven't really talked about too much is what Spirit Breaker do for you as a support Spirit Breaker. Because the way that Team Liquid has been playing the Spirit Breaker, which I haven't talked about too much, been kind of too busy talking about all the other things, he's mostly been jungling. He's been pulling, he's been stacking and doing all this stuff. And as a result, you're always off the map. And because you're always off the map, you don't know what angle they could be charging in, and they're going to be getting, oh, grip, 5x my. Multiple TPs are coming in. That's 3-4 teleport scrolls are being used. They do get the kill regardless. It looks like we're going to see a kill attempt coming out by Ix Mike. Double damage going to get pop here, and Sakuchi being used. No, he's only got Swarm. He's going to fly all the way through, but looks like the ultimate from Fluff and stuff. Bashes him back, mechs back up. He does not have time lapse. Where's the time lapse? Where's the black hole? They're going to focus on Fluff and stuff. He's not going to get focused, and looks like the trees are surrounding way too sexy. Way too sexy is going to be fine. Really quick reaction from Team Liquid. They're going to get the kill. Meanwhile, it looks like we'd have Silent Siren being used. Are they actually going to use it as an initiation? No. TC is going to be, TC. Battery assault? Battery assault? I don't think they can kill TC. Yeah, TC with 9 armor, 4 HP, and the entire team actually back in. But they're going to charge out Ward here. I'm not too sure what is way too sexy doing here by himself. Just got isolated from his team. Even if the team would not have gotten him, the charge would have, and that would have been the end of him. So, yeah, Spirit Breaker doing a ton of work in these team fights. Just like the damage that he output with the charge, just going through and stunning, and more importantly, it's actually completely impossible to dodge an strike. It's impossible to destroy. It doesn't matter if you're Sakuchiing, it doesn't matter if you're time lapsing, he will find you and he will stun you. And that is a long duration stun. That's a high damaging stun as well. So against a hero like Weaver, that's actually a very, very nice counter, even though you don't seem like it. And it looks like he's actually got up his way up to a Power Triss. I feel like Power Triss is a very, very important pickup, especially if you're going to go for a ton of bashes. Also, Ring of Baseus. So I imagine he's going to be going for a Vlad. Just a very, very supportive build, as you imagine from a supportive Spirit Breaker. And if you look at what Vlad does for Spirit Breaker and for his team, right, he's already making his entire team very quickly, moving very quick with Empowering Haste, especially if there's a drums on the team, which so far nothing yet. I imagine it's going to be Ixmai making one. I'm surprised that Lifestealer and Naga haven't made one yet. What? Naga has no farm. Is something going to occur here? Okay, that's finished drums. So, in conjunction with drums and Empowering Haste, which I always said is the best passive in the game, passive aura in the game. Best aura in the game, because it basically grants your entire team a free drums once you have maxed it. And in conjunction with the drums, then you're moving like a race car. And against a team that has to dance back and forth, like Team Dignitas, to kind of get their black hole off, to kind of get, you know, in and out position for grip and all that stuff, it is actually very, very difficult to play against when the enemy team is basically constantly hasted. Also, let's not forget about the tankiness that you get from the armor. Let's not forget about the damage aura you get early on. When these heroes are already very high damage, Lifestealer one of the highest damaging hero in the game, with Naga buffing everybody else's damage with things like Riptide and drums and whatnot. So yeah, I feel like this set of item choice has been so far very helpful for Team Liquid. Looks like Team Dignitas trying to do a bigger wraparound gank here. Clockwork Hook's gonna miss here, and that should tip off Team Liquid. This is time to back off. Everybody's missing off the map. Clockwork is the only person we saw, and he decides to 1v4 initiate. The rest of the team is nearby. So Team Liquid gonna transition into a mid tier 1 push, and I just don't think that right now Team Dignitas should stop this push. So they're going to go for a trade. A tower trade in mid for a bottom is going to favor Team Liquid because the mid tower means a ton more. It looks like we're going to see a TP in. Oh, AI's going to be in big trouble. He's going to get netted, and where's the rest of his team? AI making a rare mistake. Generally, you never see him getting caught out like that. And, well, that's going to be meaning a tier 2 tower. I talked about how Team Dignitas can easily defend against Team Liquid, push early on. But now that you have initiation coming out from Metastrike, now you have charge and infest combo, it's actually very, very hard to defend. Like, you can see how quickly they focus down on Dragonite easily. So it just doesn't matter who you defend, because it's very easy for Fluff and stuff to have the Lifestealer inside and charge on the last person all the way on the back line and just go through like a train and just bashes everybody. If they stun the Spirit Breaker, that's fine, because the bigger threat is the infested Lifestealer inside. He pops out and he starts going to work, and there's really little way for him to happen. You could grip him, you could cog him, but the rest of the team is already there with Sleep to engage on you, with Wrath of Nature, with everybody else. So it's a very kind of nicely drafted lineup And the fact that Team Liquid has first pick and last pick, which is kind of the big concern I have with this new CM mode. Yes, the team that drafts first, remember Team Liquid draft Lifestealer first in this game, also has the last pick. So it's I'm not sure how fair it is, but it's definitely not allowing Team Dignitas to actually counter pick. I feel like a strong counter pick against this kind of combo, against this kind of lineup, that features, you know, a support Spear Breaker and a carry Lifestealer is a Shadow Demon. What is this lineup gonna do, right? Sure, you got somebody gets initiated by Nether Strike, you disrupt them. There goes your ultimate. Somebody gets Infested Bomb and Open Wounds, disrupt either Lifestealer or whoever that gets initiated and Purge. Shadow Demon is still very, very good against this kind of combo. It's still very good against Korok still, or against Lifestealer. So yeah, unfortunately, because how the draft went, Team Dignitas was not able to pick up. Shadow Demon as a result. Although one thing I do want to say about Dignitas is that they did pick up their support very early in the form of Bane Elemental, and as such, generally because they only one run support, they weren't gonna pick up Shadow Demon anyways. Looks like Sakuchi was stolen here. Unfortunately, they're gonna try to get a gank on Ike's Mike, and I don't think they will get. Looking for. They are gonna find Ike's Mike and a Cog. He actually get bounced out, but looks like they are gonna disengage with the Sleep. Sleep's gonna. Oh, here comes a charge. You're really trapped in right now. The Sleep's gonna find them. Actually, they don't want to go for him. Instead, they want to go for Universe. Very strange that they cancel it. Fluffenstuff's gonna get focused right now. Ike's Mike's gonna get focused. Looks like Nether Strike's gonna bounce himself in the other direction here. And Way Too Sexy's on the run. Way Too Sexy low. And Korok in the middle of the fight right now, trying to focus on Aoi. Aoi's low. Aoi taking the tower right now. A stun goes on, and the Riptide's gonna get the kill. And looks like the Sprout has trapped a couple of guys in. Boba's low. Boba's gonna be fine as well, and Korok's doing a ton of right click. Me on the ladder end of the team fight is gonna try to TP out. He is gonna make it out with a TP, but a huge win. Another huge win from Team Dignitas. They lost 2 support. They would have picked off Dragonite and 2 other supports coming out from Team Dignitas. Somewhat of a very interesting charge coming out from from Fluffenstuff. He would have just kept charging and went here and stunned one. Would have required Korok to actually cancel the Sleep, which I imagine they have the communication to do so. They didn't. They actually just stopped the charge and then waited for Clockwork. I think killing Clockwork early is important, but I think killing Enigma early is a lot more important because of the mechanism. So I'm not exactly sure why they had that decision making, but it did not punish them. So good team fight by Team Liquid, and quickly checking the gold graph here. 5,000 gold lead for the Radiant. Here's the one thing I want to talk about with the Lifestealer and Dragonite as heroes. If you're a Lifestealer, if you get any kind of early game lead, because how this hero works is that you only need like 1 or 2 damage item, like Armlet, very cheap item, Phase, and the Desolator, relatively cheap, kind of a cost-effective damage item. So they're gonna try to set up bait here. Do they have dust? Is the question. Do they need dust? I don't know. I don't think they do. Fluffenstuff's gonna scare him away. They're gonna try to fight for that tower here, and they do get the tower. Meanwhile, Ike's Mike's gonna get picked up on the mid lane. So trading a tier 1 for a tier 1 as well. Glyph is gonna be used. Are they gonna be charging towards the mid lane? That's a big question. Silent Siren's gonna be used. Any charges? Can you target charge when they're asleep? I'm not too sure. Fluffenstuff's not charging in just yet here. No charge still. There's a charge on Way Too Sexy, and they want to fight this team fight here. There's a buyback coming in from Rubik as well. TP's in, but looks like Fluffenstuff, or Boba has got picked off. They lift up Way Too Sexy. He's gonna get bashed. No, he actually got mini stun, and looks like the Black Hole gets cancelled by the Nether Strike. 3 for nothing so far. 3 for 2 so far. Double buyback though from Team Liquid, and these buybacks gonna allow them to win this team fight.
Guess what's happening to
Not that costly early on, and the 6-minute cooldown doesn't matter at all at the stage of the game because, well, you don't really need a buyback anytime soon. And this is the benefit of keeping your tier 1 tower up so early, because if you have a mid-game team fight like this, 22 minutes in, and you do have buyback go, you have an instant reinforcement path as Ike's Mike and Boba both buyback and teleporter right in. And of course, the big thing for me, again, is Spirit Breaker. Sure, his charge got cancelled by the mini stun, and you could saw how Nether Strike actually worked, right? You could be stunned in the Black Hole, and it just doesn't matter. It looks like they're going to try to set up a gank on Snaking. Snaking should see this coming because Crew Wave has, you know, given away. Are they going to follow through with the charge? Are they? There's no dust available. And look, ooh, they're going to try to... Oh man, I think they're trying to catch off Snaking, scooching from behind. Instead, they're going to be just ganking this. The other added synergy that I haven't talked about too much is teleport and infest bomb. Just having a global way to get into any team fight. You already have one with the charge. And the second one, well, not too bad. Korok's actually quite low, but he does have the Aegis Immortal, so he doesn't really care too much. In fact, they want him to initiate, be initiated. Black Hole's gonna be used. No, that was Ike Smite. He gets cancelled here. Ike Smite's gonna get focused. Ike Smite gonna get brought down. Great focus by her by Team Dignitas. Meanwhile, there's a grip going on Korok here, but they just don't have the damage output, or do they? He's got the Aegis, and he's gonna get brought up. Nether Strike's gonna be used on Aoi. Aoi in big trouble. Where's the Black Hole? They don't have the Black Hole. And here comes Korok. He's in the back line here trying to focus people down. Way too sexy. Oh, I'm not sure why he was in the front line here. And Universe did not have Cox, or did not use it right now because it does not push back Rage Unit. And AUS dropping low, dropping quick. And look at the Song of Siren initiation. GG, well played, gets caught. And you guys, they know that if they lose one more team fight, which they will definitely lose here, even though they brought down the Lifestealer, it will not be enough. The gold graph is simply too much. 10,000 gold lead. There is no way for them to actually stop it and push because of the threat of the Nether Strike as well as Infest Bomb, and the entire Radiant team is farming a little bit out of proportion. So yeah, that is going to be the second game, or that's going to be the series even up in one apiece. And again, I'm not going to cast game number 3 because I'm casting this game for the epicness that is Spirit Breaker, that they just completely snowball out of control. So if you want to see the last game of how this series turned out, I do suggest you catch it on the TV or catch it on AC Stream. I do believe it's One More Game TV 2. I believe that's the Twitch TV stream. So I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. I personally learned, quite a bit about Spirit Breaker and what you could do, the way that you could initiate, the way you could team fight, the interaction against Enigma, against Weaver. I also learned quite a bit about Enigma myself. I want to play this hero more. He's one of my favorite heroes. As you guys know, one of my favorite players of all time was DGC back in Nirvana, China, and his signature hero is Enigma. Play that long lane Enigma all day, and Malphite getting a nice buff, being a very powerful early game ganking force. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this cast, and congratulations for Team Liquid for winning this match. Of course, showing off their new shiny Team Liquid pennant. Where's Team Dignitas? No, we gotta get onto that one. Right, in any case, hope you guys enjoyed this cast, and until next time, this is Luminous, signing off to you guys.